Eduardo Gamarra joins us now from Miami. He's a professor of political science at Florida International University. So, Eduardo, tell us more about Alberto Fernandez. His party was blamed for Argentina's economic situation prior to Macri. So, can he really turn things around? And how soon can he do that?
Well, I guess the best slogan, I guess, is that, it's sort of like asking the arsonist to come and put out the fire. The origins of the crisis in Argentina are really rooted in the government in which Mr. Fernandez participated, and the government that the vice president and former president Cristina Fernandez, the Kirchner, ran. So it's really a curious situation. But at the same time, it also speaks to the reality that outgoing President Macri was so incapable of resolving the economic crisis that he inherited that he in fact ended up deepening the crisis. So I think that part of what we have right now is a populist former government taking the reins again to resolve the problem that they themselves created. Maybe in this second coming it'll be a little differently, because much of what Argentina needs right now is probably rooted in putting an end to hyperinflation, restoring growth, and in essence, trying to restore the quality of life to Argentina. And that's going to be a very, very difficult task.
So when it comes back to Macri, did he simply just make too many promises that he couldn't keep, or were the problems just so deep that he didn't have enough time to turn them around?
Well, I think, the expectations when he came into office were very, very high. And the expectations weren't only in Argentina, they were I would say, in the entire hemisphere, after, nearly 2 decades of populism, of high spending, and really in the collapse of the export markets, which is really the essence of what's going on and affecting most of the countries of the region. But at the same time, he had no ability to build coalitions in Congress. He had a Congress that was largely in the hands of the opposition, and was incapable of really exerting the leadership that was required to address the crisis. And then I think, the main criticism that many people make is that rather than imposing a shock therapy, which might have been the right medicine, he imposed a very gradualist policy that didn't do the job, and in fact deepened inflation and deepened the economic situation.
So here we see Cristina Fernandez de Kirchner come back into the limelight as a vice president. What does this mean, and how much influence do you think we'll see her take behind the scenes?
Well, look, it's important to understand the significance of Peronism to Argentina. Peronism has largely been a political force in that country for the last 70 years, and this is just the last expression, the Kirchner version of Peronism. And so I think, most Argentines, in one way or another, are Peronists, and so in a way, it's kind of a return to what Argentines have been comfortable with. And the paradox of this, of course, is that Peronism is a way of governing that involves very, high levels of social spending, even if the economy is not very productive. So maybe in this coming, as for example, a Peronism of the 1990s, maybe this is a Peronism with Mrs. Kirchner that will be more frugal, and that won't spend as much, and will try first and foremost to establish some kind of stability before they return to business as usual.
And what about 30 seconds left? What did the voters say then in this election, and what do you see happening in the months ahead?
Yeah. The most important thing is that over the course of the next 2 months, the president-elect and the outgoing president, have to come to some kind of an agreement, because otherwise Argentina will have a very, very long trek out of a hole that they've been digging for the last 8 years. So I think that's the main thing. Over the course of the next couple of years, Mr. Fernandez is going to have a difficult job still, because he doesn't control Congress the way in which they have in the past, and he will have to reach across the aisle to govern Argentina.
All right, Eduardo Gamarra in Miami, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.